What if I told you that the night sky is a time machine, and when you look at the stars in the sky, you're really looking at them as they once were? Welcome back to Data Talks. This is Faye, and today I'm going to talk about The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. It is a fascinating book by a theoretical physicist who tried to simplify it tried to simplify time as much as humanly possible for us normal people, but it's still a little hard to grasp onto, so I figured a video kind of explaining the book's key concepts might help. To my earlier point, when we look at the stars in the sky, we see them as they once were, and that is because light travels at a fixed speed, and what our telescopes capture is the light that left those stars or planets years ago. So we see the sun, for example, 8 minutes ago. We can see some stars decades ago, to hundreds of years ago, to millennia ago. And that is why when we look at the sky, we're looking at many different times at once. And I think that's an insane concept in itself to understand. And then it just, for me personally, led to a domino effect where I just became more and more interested in what's going on in our universe and how to kind of conceptualize and make sense of it for myself. So the book, The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli, begins with Rovelli destroying the reader's concept of time and stating that there's no universal now. So whatever time it is for me, or however much time it has passed for me, may look different for you. And Rovelli explains this through Einstein's theory of general relativity, in which he states that time moves differently depending on the motion and gravity. So the motion and gravity of one object is never going to be precisely the same as is for another object. And so what's now for you might be the past for your friend or the future for someone else. And that means that the universe doesn't agree on what time it is, and there's no universal clock, and thus there is no universal now. Excuse me. Okay, so one of the really cool ways that he explains this concept is by comparing two friends who begin at sea level, and one of the friends goes up to the mountains and the other friend remains at sea level, and 10 years later the one in the mountains comes back down, and they compare times, and the clocks on, or their watches, show different times, if they're of course like good enough watches. And it's because the one in the mountain has aged more because there's more time in the mountain, and the one living by sea level has aged less. And it makes a lot of sense. And if you're someone who likes leisure and vacationing in the mountains, it makes sense because we literally have more time in the mountains to think through our thoughts and our feelings and our experiences. So it's very interesting when you're able to understand more about your preferences or your likes and dislikes through science. It's so cool. And so Rovelli goes on to explain why time feels like it moves forward, and it is because of entropy. And with entropy is the tendency for disorder to increase. And we remember the past because it was more ordered, and we don't remember the future because it hasn't left traces yet. So the direction of time doesn't come from the laws of physics, but from how information spreads. So time isn't something happening to us, it's something that emerges because of us. And at the deepest layer of reality, time doesn't even appear in equations. And so he concludes with this idea that the universe isn't revolving through time, but it's a network of events interacting, and that reality is not a movie playing on a timeline, but it's a web. And so time is real, but only on our scale, and just like temperature or pressure, it exists because of perspective, and it doesn't flow through the universe, we flow through the change of time. And that's why moments feel precious, because time isn't fundamental, but lived experiences are. And so I hope I was able to convince you to look into this book. It is a very beautiful mix between a philosophical and scientific deep dive into the order of time as we know it today. I would never be able to do justice as to explaining the book because I am not a theoretical physicist. I'm just a girl who's interested in it. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And if you have any suggestions or any other reviews that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments or feel free to reach out to me. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.